So a few years ago, a group of scientists went into a slaughterhouse to find decapitated pigs and took away the heads
Yes.
and then grew brain organoids.
No, not quite.
No.
Not quite.
Okay.
So let me go over the story then. But I want to explain that even in the 80s, it became very clear that you could have animals, cats, who had died and who had no blood circulation for over an hour, and scientists were able to restore activity again. But most people didn't realize it. But what happened, as I said to you, with the growth of this, the need to find the ability to grow brains to replace diseased brains with healthy brains led to the brain organoid story. At the same time, groups of neuroscientists were looking at other avenues to explore, dead brains. And so we can fast forward, I don't have enough time to go through all of it, but we'll fast forward to 2019, where a study was published in Nature, which is probably the most or one of the most prominent scientific journals, by a group of scientists led by Dr. Nenad Sestan from Yale. And what they were able to do is absolutely astonishing, and it shows the point I made. They went to a slaughterhouse. These were not experimental animals. These were regular animals that were turned into sausage meat. They took decapitated brains, and 4 hours after the animals were killed. So these brains were left for 4 hours, and you can't be more dead than decapitated dead. And then they took them to their own laboratory, and they connected special tubing. They actually called it a brain in a bucket, so they put it in a bucket. They connected tubing, and they put a special solution through the blood vessels, and they waited 6 to 10 hours. And so what do we think happened? All of the brains, 32 times, all of those pig brains came back to life. They restored full activity. There was biological activity, metabolic activity. The blood vessels were responding appropriately. It was so astonishing that when they showed other scientists those dead brains, they thought they were looking at healthy brains. They didn't realize. They're like, oh, so where's the dead brain? This is healthy brain. They're like, no, this was the dead brain. And one of the key things that came out of this, and it's important for our discussion, is that these scientists, and I've spoken to them at length, there's nothing hidden, it's all come out now, they were so concerned with the fact that they were restoring life to a dead pig brain that they decided, and this was a concerted effort by the National Institutes of Health, Yale administrators, and the scientist, Dr. Nenad and his colleagues, to significantly downplay their findings. They came out with a term like they said, well, we've restored biological activity, or as they said, metabolic activity, but this is not this brain is not alive, which is total, doesn't make any sense. A brain that has biological activity is alive. They were also so concerned, and you can appreciate this, by the possibility of restoring consciousness. So imagine you're a pig, now you wake up, you find your brain in a bucket, and you're conscious. You can't squeal, you can't move, you can't do anything, and you're trapped. So what they did was they gave sedative drugs. They gave drugs to block any signs of consciousness emerging in the brains, and they declared that the brains had not been conscious. We have no idea what happened, but the fact was that they did it.